Disney movie scenes are often seen as light-hearted magical tales of adventure, but every now and then they slip in a scene so dark, so unsettling, that it lingers in the midst of children and adults alike. And in the case of Pinocchio, the animated classic from 1940s, one particular moment has haunted audiences generations. The transformation scene in Pleasure Island. Pleasure Island seems like a paradise for misbehaving boys. A place where there are no rules, no responsibilities, and endless fun. But hidden beneath the surface of this cold paradise is something truly sinister. Because as the boys indulge in their vices, something horrifying begins to happen. And then it starts. A seemingly normal boy, Lampwick, a carefree, full of attitude, enjoying what he believes is the time of his life, but in a matter of seconds, that life is ripped away from him. It begins subtly. His hands turns unnaturally, elongating into hooves. His laughter turns into something more primal, more panicking. And then it gets worse. He doesn't know what's happening. He claws on his own face, trying to figure out, trying to stop it, but it's no use. His body betrays him. His ears stretch out. His voice changes. His words become brass until he can speak no more. And then the realization dawns. Not just for Lampwick, but for us, the audience. There is no escape, there is no mercy. These boys aren't just turning into donkeys, they are being erased, swallowed, walled by a transformation they cannot control, stripped of their humanity, their names, their families. They are no longer boys, they're property. And the horror doesn't end there, because once they lost their voices, they are herded up, shoved into crates, destined to be sold into slavery. The ones who can speak, they're discarded, worthless, tossed aside like trash. It's not just disturbing, it's bleak. And worst of all, this isn't an accident. This is planned. The Coachman, the mastermind behind Pleasure Island, knows exactly what he's doing. He's not just some creepy old man. He's a trafficker, a manipulator, a predator who lures vulnerable boys into a trap they can never escape from. Pinocchio's lucky. He manages to flee before the transformation consumes him entirely, but the other boys, we never see them again, and that makes this scene so terrifying. There is no closure, no rescue mission, no happy ending for those lost on Pleasure Island. For generations, this scene has remained one of the Disney's most disturbing moments. Some kids cried, some had nightmares, and some even as adults still shudder when they think about it. Because Pinocchio doesn't show bad kids being punished, it shows them being erased. It taps into a deep, primal fear. The fear of losing control of oneself, of being taken away from everything you ever know and never coming back. So the next time you watch Pinocchio, remember this. Beneath the magic and whimsy lies something far darker, a warning, a nightmare disguised as a children's film, and a reminder that sometimes fairy tales don't have happy endings. Let me know what you think about this video. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.
Even in the Disney film, in Pinocchio, it's unbelievable, the pub scene. Okay, look up the pub scene. The pub scene in Pinocchio. And you'll remember this when you saw it as a kid. It gave you a creepy feeling in your belly.
Let's see it. Pub scene in Pinocchio.
He talks about bringing the boys to Pleasure Island. And then he starts whispering what happens to the boys, and the fox freaks out. He's like,
and the dummy fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. And he still thinks we're his friends. And did Stromboli pay? Plenty.
Now what?
How low Honest John will stoop.
That's how low I'll stoop.
Now, Coachman,
So cocky.
what's your proposition? Well, how would you blokes like to make some real money? Well, and who do we have to, No, nothing like that. You see? I'm collecting stupid little boys. Stupid little boys The disobedient ones what Pinocchio from school. Oh. And you see... And I takes him to Pleasure Island.
What's your reaction?
Pleasure Island? But the law. Suppose they... No. There's no risk. There's no risk. Come back as boys. Now, I've got a coach load leaving at midnight. We meet at the crossroads. And no double crossing. No? Scout around. And any good prospects you find, bring him to me. Yes.
Jesus Christ.
I got plenty.
What is that?
It's so creepy because, like, what value are boys to him? That's the thing. It's like they're going to kidnap these boys, but why?
And they're not going to kill him.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No. You want to make real money. And the line before it, like, we'll stoop to anything for this much. And that's what people don't understand. That power will bring the pure demonic devil out of you if that's who your God is. And this fucker was like, she's like, you want to make a real man? We steal
Boys.
stupid little boys. We bring them to Pleasure Island. And then you see the fuck, he goes, Pleasure Island?
So they must-
and he goes, no, they don't come back as little boys.
So you got to think, in 1940, when they're writing this, the guys that are writing this, they must have probably heard stories about children getting sex trafficked. They must have heard those stories because we've heard those stories.
Yes.
We've heard those stories as adults.
Yes.
Where there was always stories about some weird government in Italy, was it say, where the original story was written, the donkey is a symbol of stupidity. The moral behind Pleasure Island is that little boys who scoff at education and moral codes set forth by their parents, preachers, and authority figures will engage in jackass behavior instead, such as fighting, vandalism, underage drinking, and often destined to grow up to become men who have no option to make a living except through back-breaking manual labor, and there are plenty of people in the world, such as the Coachman, who will take advantage of that. I think maybe there's a little more going on there. Like your interpretation of that, that's such a shallow interpretation of them kidnapping boys and saying they don't come back as boys.
We're just trying to help their education.
And then he's evil. So, like, what value would he have for what's the value of those boys if you're not sexualizing them? Like, it seems like that's a very specific possibility that's happening.
Just very incredible that no one talks about that.
Have you ever seen any of those documentaries about, like, government officials who get busted?
Oh, yeah.
It's wild, man. There must be, like, a certain group, like a secret group of people that have been engaging in stuff like that for a long time.